Hello guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Runewords. Today we're going to be looking at a rune word that is, I guess you could call it a mid-tier rune word. It's not cheap, and it's not like ridiculously expensive like a Last Wish, but, it's not bad. So we have to create it first, which I'm going to make this in a phase blade. You could also create this in a berserker's axe. That would be nice. So the rune word is Mal. Gul, and then Fal. And we create Kingslayer. Now the Kingslayer blade is actually really nice, especially if you make it in a high damage weapon or a very fast weapon, because it is a very fast item. We have 110 to 124 damage here, and it is in a phase blade, so it's a very fast class task speed with 30% increased, which is very nice. Now, the phase blade is one particular base, like I'm saying. You can make a Kingslayer in swords or axes, and I do feel like the Berserker's axe might be a little bit of a superior choice for the range, but if you're looking for speed, this one is probably the one you want to go with. We also have an enhanced damage of 230 to 270%. Mine rolled 255. We have a negative target's defense of 25%, which is always nice to have on a melee weapon. 20% bonus to attack rating, so not only are they reducing the defense of the monster for us, but we're also getting a bonus to the attack rating, which is great. We have 33% chance of crushing blow, which is always nice to have on a melee weapon. That is a chance to deal 25% damage to the monster's current HP, not their maximum, and it is 12.5% versus bosses. We've got 50% chance of open wounds, which is an absolutely great mechanic that gives a bleed based on the character's level of 8 seconds, which will prevent regeneration while it's in effect, which is absolutely great. We also have a prevent monster heal, which will also prevent the monster from healing. Plus 10 to strength, which is always great to have because it's going to make it easier to use your armor and things like that. And then, of course, we also have 40% extra gold for monsters. And I left the vengeance for last on purpose. So we also have +1 to vengeance. Now, +1 to vengeance is not just a paladin-only skill. This is actually giving you the vengeance skill. So keep that in mind as we go forward. Now, you might be asking yourself, well, what good is vengeance? What good is having the vengeance skill? Well, I hate to say it, but not a lot. Level 1 vengeance is not particularly a high level, and we would need to really beef up the vengeance skill to be able to get the best use out of it. Part of the issue with vengeance is that it really sinks off of the actual physical damage of your weapon, which is one of the reasons why I recommend making this in a higher damage weapon versus a phase blade. But I was having trouble finding the right base for this, and I put this video off for long enough, so I do hope you will forgive me for this. Now, vengeance is a skill that converts physical damage into elemental damage, based on the level of the skill and also the synergies. If you are a paladin, of course, that's just simply going to add to your vengeance skill. But if you are a sorceress or something else, you're actually going to have vengeance to use, and this is actually pretty cool because we can actually utilize this in one of a couple different ways. One thing that you can do with a vengeance skill on a sorceress, for instance, is you could beef up your cold mastery. You could beef up your fire mastery. You could beef up your lightning mastery. And what this is going to do is it's going to very strongly affect how much damage your vengeance is doing. These are the kind of odd things that you can do with vengeance paladins. And I'm going to take you out real quick and show you what it's like to be a vengeance sorceress.
Evil beware. It's locked.
And this is normal difficulty, I forgot. Let me see if I can switch this over to a character that's in hell difficulty, shall I? Alright, so here we go. I am on a sorceress that I've actually set up specifically for testing out this sort of stuff. And she is running Ormus's robes specifically for the skill damage, which actually does affect vengeance, by the way. She has a plus to skills, and she's also using a Tiamat's Rebuke to enhance her elemental damage, and she's got a bunch of elemental damage charms. Her entire purpose in life is to enhance her elemental damage as much as humanly possible. And I don't know why she's using... oh yeah, it's because she was using throwing items, that's right. Let me give her a different belt just for the moment. Good old Lenyamo sash. Have a Lenyamo. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to enchant ourselves with our maximum level enchant. We are going to give ourselves our armor so that we are more defensible. And then, you know, we're even going to throw on energy shield because we are going to be a melee sorceress, so why not have a little bit of energy shield running. And that's pretty much it for the skills. And then we're going to go over here and we're actually going to use Vengeance. Now, because of the plus the skills that we have, we're at level 7, and the elemental damage that we have coming from enchant, multiple sources, as well as the Vengeance skill itself, should allow us to deal out a pretty significant amount of damage, but we'll see. Not bad for hell difficulty. Now, this particular item is quite a mid-tier item. Besides the Vengeance skill that it gives you and the ability to build your character around Vengeance, this item is not as good as a Breath of the Dying, for instance, or maybe a Last Wish, or there are quite a few other rune words that I feel like trump this particular rune word. But that being said, those rune words also usually require much rarer runes. So this rune word in particular only has Mal, Gul Fal. And granted, Mal runes aren't super easy to come by. Runes are not super easy to come by. Gul runes are not super easy to come by. Fal runes actually are kind of easy to come by. I got like 6 of them. But my point here is that it's not as ridiculous to make as something like, you know, Jaith Bur or God forbid, Mal Jaw. Freaking, what is Last Wish? Last Wish is like Jaw. I don't even freaking remember. It's like 3 Jaw runes in Last Wish or something like that. Like absolutely ridiculous amounts of runes in Last Wish, and you know, it's comparably, it is easier to make than a lot of the higher runes. Last Wish is Ja Mal, Ja Sur, Ja Bur. So yes, definitely far easier to make than a Last Wish. The increased attack speed on this item, combined with the crushing blow, the open wounds, the print monster heal, the target's defense negative, and the attack rating, make it actually a pretty strong weapon. You could use this on a Zealer. You could put this in a Colossus Blade for a Frenzy Barbarian. I could even, honestly, see a Druid, a Fury Druid using this. In a Phase Blade with 30% IAS, it actually would work fairly well. I could maybe see a Fireclaws Druid getting some good use out of this, just simply because it's a very exceptionally fast weapon combined with some very nice effects, which will assist in dishing out damage where physical damage is not present. The interesting thing about this sword is that it is just a middle ground sword. I don't think I would specifically make this as a endgame sword for anybody except for someone who's specifically trying to get the Vengeance skill, because as far as I know, there is no other way to get Vengeance other than this particular sword. And I feel like this also might be a little decent on a kick assassin. Maybe if you just if you wanted the crushing blow and the open wounds, it's not a bad choice. The I feel like that what really holds it back is that it has enough of a rune investment that it doesn't really, I don't know how to put it. It doesn't really make you want to spend the runes on it. Like, you look at the runes in here and you're like, well, I'd rather use an rune in one of my pieces of equipment for resistances, or I'd rather use that gull rune and maybe transmute into a vex rune with another gull, or maybe I'd rather use that mal rune on a rain for a druid. You know, there's a bunch of different things that those runes could be useful for, as opposed to put in the Kingslayer. And unless you specifically needed this sword, you might not make it. I'm not trying to talk you guys out of it or anything, but I feel like that's one of the big issues with this particular sword, is that I feel like there's a lot of other swords that are a little better. I also feel like Phase Blade probably wasn't the best choice for the base for this. As I look at it and as I go over the rune word, and the more I really kind of see like what specifically this sword does, I feel like it might be better in a two-handed sword, or something that is higher on the damage end, so that you're getting more out of it. Maybe even a cryptic sword, like on the top of my head. I'm just kind of spitballing here. Maybe a Highland blade or a Colossus blade, something like that. Perhaps two-handed for a a barbarian, or maybe you would even make this two-handed for a frickin' sorceress, so that you're not wielding a shield. I know some sorceresses that just don't like blocking, because the block on sorceress is pretty bad. Anyway, I always appreciate you guys and gals watching my videos, and keep watching.